Hey guys, how are you doing today?
Hello.
Hello, Bogdan. And everybody else.
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good day, sir.
Cool. So today, as we all know, Dale is enjoying vacation. So I will play his role, doing my best. Fitting his shoes, tough shoes to fit, but I will do my best. Cool. So today I do have some topics prepared. I did a cool trick with the gear icon to bring it in other skins, so I will show that to you. We can cover a bit better, but of course, discussing your topics as well. It's important. I don't think we need any more intros. We are doing this every Friday, very good time. And of course, this is being recorded. Very good conversations to go back to when needed. So make sure to visit and subscribe on the YouTube channel. And yeah, like mentioned, we have some topics prepared for today. I have some topics prepared, but we'll look, of course, at what's hot on your mind today. And also today we can sit after the hour for the Afterglow special session. So this being a open conversation, keep muting our microphones when we are not speaking to avoid background noises and all such things that we all got so mature at doing in the past 2 years. Cool. So I think there's also a form behind this. I didn't check it out, but they'll I think already fill this agenda. So if you don't have the form, grab your camera and get this QR code. And I think we are ready to rock and roll. And I do appreciate that less people join today since Dale is not present. I will not take it personal, but yeah, I think if we do have a new guy in the community. He's been around last week as well. I'm not sure, Florin, if you want to introduce yourself to the community. I took him by surprise.
Yeah, right away. Sorry. Hello. I'm Florin Dobre. I'm from Romania, Constanța Seashore, and I'm new on the business. Yeah, I just watch for the moment. Thank you.
Yep.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello, Florin.
Welcome to the group.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
So I think
Good to have you.
Florin is one of those wonderful stories of people that haven't done technology until now. He just started in January and he's already automated a lot of stuff for his sales team. So it's a wonderful story. He does need our help, of course. And I think he raised the topic on the community forum, which maybe we help him figure it out today. Cool. So let's see. First call. What's on everybody's mind? Any topics?
Well, I got something. I was preparing an installation for. I already put in a ticket for this, an installation for testing. So I made a backup of a current installation and restored it under another name. And then it crashed on me, and I was figuring out what happened. And the end of the story was actually that the skin uses Bootstrap, uses Search Boost. And because the new installation was not yet licensed, Search Boost crashed. And I was well taken off guard, because then you'll think, well, I do something wrong with the backup and restore, or so. Then you go look and look and look, and in the end of the day, it's Search Boost that is not licensed. So that was a bit of a bummer, I must say. And it's very difficult to find such an issue. What's wrong, because the installation just crashes on you. That that took me an hour just to prepare an installation for testing. And well, that was on my mind just a half an hour ago.
Got it. Yeah. So mainly because, yes, Search Boost was not there. Usually we see that problem with NavXP with the menu, because that's as well present on all pages, but probably you're not using that in your custom skin. So maybe that's why you didn't.
No, it was the standard skin.
Oh, it was the standard skin.
The Bootstrap 5 skin. Was it?
Okay. Yep. I think, yes, we can do a better job at showing the errors, the actual error, the real error.
Yeah, the real error is that would be very beneficial, or not throw an error at all. That would be even better.
Take to the activation screen, exactly.
Yeah, something, whatever. It's a pity. It's just a waste of time. And then,
So Peter, I'm glad you got that figured out, and thanks for sharing that with the rest of us, so that when we see the same thing, we'll be a leg up. Thanks.
helpful, yes.
Okay, anybody's got anything else to bring?
Well, in the idea of giving people a leg up on potential situations, something that happened to me, I've been, as Bogdan knows, been battling with support for close to a month. I was in the process of trying to upgrade one of the sites that was on the DNN platform, but version 8. So it was quite a upgrade process, because it was a lot of steps, upgrade a little bit, upgrade all the modules, upgrade a little bit more, upgrade all the modules, going back and forth. And then of course some modules don't no longer exist, so you can only go so far, then you have to remove them, whatever it is. Ultimately, I got all the way up to version 9.6.1 of platform and 1.15 of Plantain app, and I could not install dependencies. I was stuck. It took a while. Ultimately, what we found was, for anyone that is upgrading from an older system, I guess I'm one of the first few people to actually upgrade something that old. Apparently, there is an optimized compilation option within your web config that the older DNN systems would require or want that to be defaulted to true for optimization. That needs to be false now. So if you're upgrading from an old system and you get stuck once you get up to Plantain app level to install dependencies, make sure that that optimize compilation is set to false. Once you do that, you'll be able to then install the dependencies.
Can you?
Thank you.
Can you point out where it lives, Ben?
Yeah, that's right. If you do a control find for optimize.
Interesting, it's not there in web config anymore.
Oh, it's not? Let me, hold on one second. Let me see if I can find it on mine.
Is it in the
I mean, it could very well be that it's a throwback from the DNN 8 world.
Yep.
And maybe fresh DNN 9 installs don't even have it. I do not know, but hold on one second and I will pull it up so I can show everybody. Notepad. There it is. Sorry, guys, I wasn't expecting to show this, so give me a second while I pull it up.
No, I think it's good if you show it because I don't know. I don't know it, so probably.
Yeah, a colleague of mine was stuck also at 961. So if Ben got a solution for that.
Well, and the thing is that it literally, it took us, like I said, it was like a month of me banging my head because nothing was being logged in the error logs. You flipped all of the things to log all, not just errors, you know, you look at the Windows error logs, nothing was being recorded anywhere. So it was so hard to track this down. Ultimately spending like an hour with the devs on a Zoom call, going back and forth and trying all these different things. And then we found this one silly thing and it allowed it. So Bogdan, you have to let go so I can share.
Yes, sure.
And now which of my screens am I sharing? This one, I think. Everyone see my mouse?
Mm-hmm.
All right, this guy right here, under compilation, optimize compilation, that was set to true on mine because I was coming from a DNN 8 world.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as we flip this to false and saved, it's gonna cause a recompile of your entire site. And because optimization is set to false, if you're used to a faster compile, it's gonna take a while. It's gotta compile every single app that it comes across. But once it's done, you'll be able to then click on install dependencies, get past that error, and everything is hunky-dory after that.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find this, Ben? Sounds like a tricky one to find.
It was trial and error. It was just me working with, oh my God, what was his name? I can't even remember now. I need another cup of coffee.
Was it
But
Christine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Custom. We were just trying everything back and forth. We were uninstalling things, reinstalling things, checking, error logs left and right. He was all over my system. And then it was just, I don't even know how he came across this one, but I think he found something somewhere because one of the errors we were getting was a 404 page not found error. And that shouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
And he was trying to figure out why we were getting a 404 error, and something led him to this optimized compilation. So then he came back, looked in here, saw mine was true, flipped it to false, saved, and once we redid it, everything worked beautifully. So a lot of headaches, but hopefully other people can, if you're upgrading from an older system and you come across that, look here first, save yourself the headache. If you see this option in here and it's true, set that to false and try again.
So Ben, you said that shows up when you get to 9.6.
No, this was in there from 8. I'm just saying that
the trouble presented though at 9.6, is that right?
the trouble presented itself at the very first install of Plantain app. Everything was working great with the website, and I installed Plantain app 1.15, which is the very first Plantain app version. Once you install that and you go to run it, you get that install dependencies window because you have all the missing dependencies, and that big button on the bottom, install. When you click install, it'll give you an error right on the right side that says failed to install dependencies. It happens instantly, but nothing gets logged. The
Okay,
button
so
just doesn't work.
To be clear, the issue is not getting past 9.6. The issue is getting Plantain app installed.
Correct, fully installed. Yeah.
Gotcha.
You can install the Plantain app main module and place it on a page and everything. And the very first thing that happens is it's going to tell you you have all these dependencies that are needed to be installed as well. So search, boost, and all the other things it needs. You can't get those dependencies installed. The button won't work. And then as soon as you flip this switch and try it again, it works beautifully.
Thank you.
So
Sorry you had that
that
trouble.
saves other people the headache.
And I'm glad. Thanks for sharing that with us.
I don't envy you.
Well, it's one of those things. It's like all the other websites that I had were getting more of my attention and stuff, and this is my own, and this is the one that kind of suffered. It's been the oldest one, so finally I was like, I really need to give this one some love and get it updated. And you know, in the process, I'm like, yeah, I finally got, you know, 1.15 installed. Let's move on and get to the latest version, install dependencies. Bang. And I'm like, so
I'm wondering if maybe we can do this in the app builder install module, because, you know, in the module installer, you can change web config.
Mhm.
So maybe this could be something that nobody has to think about it ever again.
that would be nice. Like I said, this was, I think honestly, finding this was just luck.
Mhm.
You know, when we were doing this for like an hour on Zoom, I think it was just lucky that we came across this, but this was literally emails and support tickets back and forth for almost like a month, trying to track down and figure this out. It just didn't make a whole lot of sense. Any fresh install on the from DNN 9 up, beautiful. You know, never had a problem because this was a throwback from the old systems. So that's the only reason why it came across here, because I've installed it several times on new systems. I've never had an issue. This was the very first time I've ever upgraded such an old system.
So you can also remove it then.
I don't know, I guess.
It's not
I haven't tried it.
I'm comparing my one of my web.configs to yours, and it looks exactly, the compilation section there looks exactly the same, except for that setting is not there. So seems like maybe you could just remove it, but
Yeah.
Just to piggyback onto that, again, thanks, Ben. You made me remember that I've had a small number of sites that had problems if web dev was enabled in the web config. So that's just another little thing, since we're talking about the web config. You can get in there, you can disable web dev at the IIS level, or you can do it one side at a time in the web config. And that does clear up some issues.
Good. Thanks for sharing the knowledge.
So Bogdan, this isn't an issue really. This is just a comment to what's going on with you guys. I had the occasion to use the one-step upgrade for DNN that you are providing. I used it twice. It worked flawlessly. Worked very well. So kudos for that. I want to preface that by saying I was only moving from one version, from 9.10.1 to 9.10.2. But it was slick. It made my life easier to do it that way than to do the regular process. And more importantly, it worked.
Yep.
Yeah, looked good.
Cool, cool. Thanks. Yep, I was talking this with Ben, and he had the same vision. This should have been built into DNN a long time ago because it's not a complex process. We are just downloading a zip and unzipping it in the root of the site. We are not doing anything fancier than that.
Right, that
Yeah.
definitely should have been built in. But can you tell me,
Exactly.
Bogdan, what does this process do with the install files? Does it clean them up? That's what I want to know.
With the install file, what do you mean? Oh, the install file. We are running the regular DNN array, so I suspect it does.
Because you would have to.
Yeah. But the DNN upgrade process does it, right? After completes, it removes those files, right?
Not always.
No.
There is an install folder that gets put in the root of the website, and not all of those files get removed. There do seem to be some lagging stuff. I've dealt with DNN support direct, or the DNN Corp, rather, I should say. And they showed me that sometimes there can be some files in there. We had issues upgrading in some cases. They've actually had me go in there and just delete the folder install to get rid of whatever was there. However, I will say in one instance, if memory serves, there was a file in there that was needed. it was because of a module that was installed. Put a file in there. I think it was bad programming on the module side. Left the file in that folder that was required. And I went and deleted it, and then my module broke. So as always, backup, 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 just in case.
Well, right, but in addition to that, there's when you upgrade DNN, you usually upload the zip file that contains the upgrade, and then you expand it, and then the zip file is still sitting there. So that's the part that I would like to know if it's getting cleaned up or not, because I would normally clean it up. I wouldn't want that sitting around not needed anymore.
Mark, have you checked your installs that you upgraded?
No, this question just came up. Just wondering if there was, I could get an answer here.
I was gonna say the best answer, well, to be 100% sure, if you have access to your system directly, the Windows system, go into the folder and do a search for star.zip.
Is
See if
that
there's
where
any zip file. It would be in your root folder, in your wherever your website root would be, because that's the only thing Plantinap has access to. It can't access a folder outside of its root. It's the root or its children. So it's got to be in there somewhere.
Well, root or children is a pretty big playing field.
Well, that's right. If you start at the root, if you're in Windows Explorer, in the top right corner, you have your search, star.zip. It'll search everything within the root and all its children.
Okay.
And it'll tell you if it finds any zip files in there.
Well, okay, I can look for that, but just for the record, I would like it to clean it up.
Yeah.
I don't want to go clean it up because that kind of defeats the purpose if it's doing it for me. I still have to do something manual. Thank you.
So noted. Hey, I have a question going forward. All of the forms that get built, they're using inject data. Now, did I understand correctly that will at some point get, in one of the upgrades, get automatically upgraded to the new token nomenclature? Or is that something we have to do manually?
Yeah, I think it will be automated at some point. We are not removing it for now, so it will not, nothing will break. It's just I think we even hide it right now, so you cannot create new actions of that type.
Yeah.
But yeah, when we'll get to remove it, by then we'll have a solution to either replace automatically or like Ben has shared a solution with us to have like a manual process to go through all the changes, but see where they are and go and act on each of those obsolete items.
Okay.
So
I got you, Matt. I got your back. I got everyone's back. I've been working on this.
There's a lot of them out there.
Okay.
Along those lines regarding tokens, and this is just more of a heads up for other folks. When you're using you're setting session variables and you want to change the value of a session variable, it's got to be a two-step process. And Ben actually gave me the suggestion to do that. You've got to essentially have an interim value in the left-hand side, so that and then you take the next iteration, you can do it one right after the other in the same grouping. In the next iteration, use that interim value to reset your session variable, or else it can get confused and either not do anything or come across with an incorrect value. And that kind of leads me to another related question. The new token nomenclature, you've got the left-hand column, which is your token value. But in particular, when you're doing things like cookies and session variables, setting them, what impact, what value does that left-hand column have? What significance does it have, other than what I just mentioned with regard to using it as an interim in an interim process? is it meaningless in that case?
So you mean in the context of using the create update tokens action? Just to clarify, you mean so yeah,
Correct.
the value you're setting.
So let's say I'm setting a cookie, right?
Right.
Set cookie on the right hand side. You do all that. Does that left hand column even have to have a value, or B, if it does, is there any significance to that value, and are there any kind of things that we should be concerned with when using it?
I had an open ticket on that Dale gave me the answer that we just put a dummy token, a variable on that left-hand column.
Yeah, same here.
That's what I was going to say, but you know, I didn't feel real confident about it. But that's been my experience in the past, is that it doesn't really matter what you put there. It's all about that token actually running.
Yeah, I don't know about the requirement of it. I am going to take a wild guess and say that it probably will be required that you put something in there. But as for its relevance, if it's something, especially if it's something that doesn't actually return a value, it really has no relevance. You're saying put whatever value in there, it's just going to put a blank, because whatever token you're executing on the right-hand side isn't returning a value to put into that variable. So it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
could
and
just
even,
sorry,
go
I was
ahead.
gonna say you could just put something in there like setting session, you know, just something. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I had understood. I just wanted to make sure that I was clear, and that perhaps everyone else was too.
Yeah, either that, or like lots of times what I've done in a situation like that I know I'm basically executing a token and that's it, and it's not actually returning anything, it's just doing something, I would give it a token value name of like no return value. Just so that visually I know this is just a dummy variable. I really don't care what goes in there.
Thanks.
What was the two-step session variable process that Matt alluded to there, Ben?
I actually have it on my screen if you guys want me to share it. I just went to the actual forum question itself. I had it ready just in case people asked. I know this group. I know what's coming. All right, let me zoom in a little bit so you guys can see better. But this was basically the whole list. Like I had suggested this. It's basically the session, put that into a variable and then use that variable in your set. So this one will get the variable and then put it in here. What was happening before, what Matt had, was he was putting this session token inside here directly, trying to do it all in one shot, and the system just wasn't accepting it. It didn't like it. So by taking that inner piece out, putting that into a variable, then using that variable within the next executed token, that apparently fixed the issue. So this is his, I think, your final solution, right, Matt?
Yeah, pretty much.
This was his final.
In this case, I was using the session variables to keep track of where I was in a form, going forward and backward in the form. I had to swap a number of, say, category items in and out. And it was, it didn't throw an error. It just didn't work as expected. It came up with values like when I was looking at this category, when this cat, it would actually show me the next cat. And it was just not working right. But by doing this, using this two-step process, it worked flawlessly. And if you read the thread, I had been using hidden fields, which then became unnecessary. So took me a lot of cycles, and thanks for your help, Ben.
What's the title on that thread?
Matt Croshaw asks dumb questions. You'll find it everywhere.
since we are on this community portal, can you go back to the homepage to look at the issue that Florin raised? I think it's an interesting one. So basically, our forms, when you open them in mobile, they always go one row, one field per row. And I guess Florin, what he wants to do here is on the mobile also keep 2 or 3 fields group on the same row, because it's like quantity drop-downs, small drop-downs. So they need to be on the same row. So I'm wondering if any of you implemented something like this, and how did you do it?
I have not done that, but I'm wondering if you were to put a little CSS on them saying max width, maybe, and kept it really small so they fit on one row.
Mm-hmm.
Just a suggestion.
Yeah. Also, a question for you, Florian. What version of Bootstrap are you using?
Bootstrap 3.
Yeah. Be interested to see what the comparison in terms of your flexibility is with a newer Bootstrap iteration, Bootstrap 5.
I'm not doing the update, but the problem is I need to identify the field or the class, because okay, I can put it some CSS, but I do only for the media. Yeah.
Looks like
I don't want to change everything. I do want to change only the when the form is shrink to the font size.
yeah. So the max width doesn't work here. Anyways.
I'll just say, in a case like this where I would need to do something special for mobile devices, typically what I would do is I would use the manual format.
Mm-hmm.
So I would come out, I wouldn't use the drag and drop grid of the form builder itself anymore. There's an option to override that with your own manual format. And then I would put in the CSS code. So saying if it is a mobile device, this is, you know, the div that I want showing.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's not a mobile device, this is the div I want showing. And then make the tweak just for the mobile in how you want your fields and your buttons to lay out. It's a more manual process,
Mm-hmm.
but it gives you the ability to override it and basically get it usually exactly what you want. It's just not going to be as easy as a drag and drop method.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by manual layout, it's this setting here where you can build your own layout, your own HTML structure, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, that will be like where you control everything. Otherwise, it will be a bit of messing around. And I'm not sure if we put any classes on the root. So let me try to put a class to see where that goes. So let's say on the first name, we want to put a custom CSS class. Oh, I activated the manual layout. I did it to myself.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's see, where do the custom classes go? Yeah, so they are not on the root. It will be difficult to target the root. I see we put it on the container of the field. So yes, probably the manual layout would be the easiest.
And just so you know, there are Bootstrap 3 has built-in classes ready for you to use this. So they have a hidden dash and then the size.
Mhm.
So the size is, XS, SM, MD, XL.
Mhm.
Those are the main class sizes, and it's the word hidden before it. So for argument's sake, you could say this div hidden on SM, MD, LG. And that means that it would only be visible in extra small, which is the phone size. Then you would have another div underneath that outside of it that would say hidden XS, which means it's visible on everything, but hidden on phone. So you would have your two separate formats on, your design. And that's how you would basically control it so that, the one you want visible at the time is the one that shows.
Okay, thank you. I will try, and I told you.
Yeah. And just for the future, we are thinking to expand this container quite a bit and just call it container. And we'll add more settings to it. First, we are going to add the ability to add fields to it, and then specify alignment option to it. So with containers, we'll fix this problem in the product where you need to do special layouting, and group fields together, things like that. So that is on our roadmap. We discussed it.
That sounds good, Bogdan.
Thumbs up on that.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Yeah. With these containers, of course, it opens the door to do other things like sections in the form or multi-step forms or things like that.
Sections in the form. I like that.
Yeah.
With separate formatting, background colors, borders around, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, of course, you'd have maybe some CSS classes, and if you need to do custom things, you'll do it in CSS. But yes.
Wow, that's great.
And since we are on the screen, this is what I wanted to show to you. So this is a Xilion page with the Xilion skin. So I have here it's Xilion inner skin and the Xilion not titled container. So this is not a plantainer skin. So what I did here, I managed to get the gear icon in here, our gear icon. So then, of course, it works similar as with plantainer skin to create a more streamlined experience. So I heard Dale mentioning that this was a question at some point from this group. Was it, or did he trick me into it?
I know it's something I've wanted for a long time.
Yeah, me too, because then you don't have to change the container of the module.
There are some, go ahead.
I'm a little slow. I don't see what's the big deal here. Why is this good?
So you have the gear icon here in a non-plantainer skin. So then, of course, first, you don't have to go to edit mode to do everything, right? So you don't, we rarely go to edit mode. You have this one here. This one, I'm not sure if it will work. Actually, we can, actually it changes portal CSS. So this one should work, right? So, the pop-up doesn't work, so never mind. Of course, you have the app builder here to open in sidebar, so you have a unified experience to access the modules.
Well, can I access other modules besides Plantanet modules also that way?
Yep, any module that you have on the page, it will appear there. So let's, for example, use a HTML module. No? Oh. Why not? Oh, I didn't initialize it, maybe. Yeah, so you also get it. Let me close this edit mode. You also get the HTML module.
Okay. That's great. And are you going to change that so that it shows the title of the module as well down there in the gear?
Yeah, this is the title of the module, but I just haven't renamed them.
Okay.
Is that a 120 feature or is that a?
It will be in 120. I had to do a couple of changes in the code to support that, and it's still a bit manual. So I will show you how I did it. It's still a bit manual. You have to do some changes, but in the future we'll make it of course a lot easier. So the changes that that I had to do. So let's see. For example, this is the scheme. And in the scheme, just changing this inherits to inherit from the PlanTNF scheme base instead of the DNN scheme base. So this one was a change. This one includes our gear icon, right? So you need this line, and I can post them all in the chat. So this one it just navigates relatively to this skin file, goes to our page builder skin, controls, admin controls, and this one is what actually includes the gear icon. So this is one. This works both on Bootstrap 3 and Bootstrap 5, so you don't need to do other things. This will work on both. Probably doesn't work on both. That's why the pop-up didn't open, but I will look into it more. And the same thing for the container. So container, I just changed this class from which it inherits. Because again, we are doing special code here to expose the module actions and so on. It's a bit manual, but I mean, you do it once for the skin and afterwards it just works.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mark, why do you think it's not a big thing? What's
I didn't say it wasn't a big thing. I was just trying to understand the significance. I think, you know, especially when I'm working with your modules, PlanTNF, like if I get into manage a grid or a form, I oftentimes really want to leave that open in a tab. Mm-hmm. Hit save and then pop over to the other tab and refresh. So that's having it in the gear. I don't often, I almost never use it that way, but if there are other modules are in there, I don't leave them open, obviously, but so I would use it way more often there.
Yeah.
So here's an idea. What if we were able to add into there like an option where it says, you know, the name of the form or the grid to optionally open it in a new tab? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Yep. That'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Took it out of my mouth, Patrick.
Okay, who's typing the feature request first?
I think Patrick is.
I said it first, didn't I? I guess I got to do it.
That's what it is.
His first feature request entry.
Is it? I thought I had done one before, but
oh, did you?
So,
I don't know.
no, it might be that I started one and didn't finish it, but yeah.
Hey, you know, another thing, I saw the lead up that Dale was saying you were going to reduce the need to get into edit mode. You know, another reason we need to get into edit mode is to hit the edit pencil for other modules. Like you can't see the edit pencil to change. I guess that's, I'm sorry. I think you just covered that, didn't you?
Yep.
You can do it right there.
Yep.
Don't need to see the edit pencils.
Yeah. So our team rarely goes to edit mode, right? Most of the development happens without edit mode. We rarely go to edit mode, only when we need to add a new module to the page or things like that.
Right, but I'm wondering though, I have a lot of other modules on the page. I'm wondering if you do too, because I think you live in the world where everything's on a PlanTNF page and you're only using PlanTNF modules. I use quite a few other stuff, and so I have to get in and out of those as well as yours.
Mhm.
Yeah, so this helps.
Yeah.
I'm in edit mode a lot. So this is good.
I think Patrick and I had a conversation about that too, where, and I'm sure other people do it, especially when you're testing something somewhere else and then you have to port your changes to live, where you may have a lot of tabs open, making all of your changes. And then when you're ready, you hit save, 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 save on all of the open tabs. So yeah, I understand what you're saying, Mark. I'm always in edit mode, mainly because I'm opening up the form in edit mode or the grid in another tab. I want it to stay open. I don't necessarily want it in that pop-up so that it closes on me every time, then I got to reopen it.
I've been there many times where I have all those the multiple tabs open, and they're dependent on each other. So I got to make in implementing it live. So got to make sure it's ready.
All the time.
Yeah.
Coding in that quiet corner. I love that saying. I forgot who it was here that initially said that.
What did you guys think about the cafe on Wednesday, about Dale's effort to upgrade the contributions website?
I liked seeing it. I know he told us this we would need to do it that way before, but watching it step by step, I thought that was helpful.
So I think now whoever wants to go into this and try the same thing on other contributions, of course, there are good use cases, and there are good use cases for testing as well, of course. They'll help us identify these 2 new issues that he discovered while upgrading this contributions website.
In running through the process on a staging site, it did blow up on me trying to upgrade the DNN version through the automatically. I haven't figured out why yet. So it's not perfect yet.
Maybe once you figure it out, it will be useful to know why it broke.
Okay, I will let you know.
I have a question that kind of piggybacks on what I had supplied Patrick with the code for the identification and auto updating of obsolete and deprecated items. Can we use that same methodology to fix the glyph icon to font awesome icons? Because that's going to be quite a bear to update all those grids, all those listings when you upgrade to Bootstrap 5. Everything turns into a dot.
So to me, I think the reason why it is that we didn't make any automation for that, obviously, is because how do you choose the correct icon? How do you take what you have from a glyph icon and translate that to a corresponding or equivalent font item icon? So I guess what you're saying, if you had some automation for it, maybe it would be a pop-up form where you select, maybe, I don't know, where you select a font awesome one that'll replace, or yeah, is that what you're thinking?
I mean, basically, I was looking at, like I was doing with the other one, creating a form or a grid that would list out all of the glyph icons it found, and then allow you to do a mapping and say, wherever I find this glyph icon, convert it to this font awesome command, and just inject that in there, and it just does a mass replace across the board.
Yeah, I see that, and everyone, I think, agrees that that's really, I mean, that's that's a choice that you have to make. It's not a choice that we can, that we can just say what the equivalents are. It's really a choice that has to be made by the person who's managing the website.
I mean, potentially,
Yeah,
though. I mean,
yeah.
from me specifically, I mean, at least from my perspective, I think every glyph icon has a relatively safe,
Sure.
alternative on the font awesome side. To be completely honest, I would prefer if it can't be done in a situation where we choose to do a mass replace, and let's say for argument's sake, it was just done by the system automatically, I'd be completely fine with that over seeing everything turn into a dot. I'd rather see an equivalent trash can, an equivalent save icon, an equivalent something. And then if I want to tweak it later, I can go back and say, you know what, I don't like the icon that they chose for me. I'm going to switch it, as opposed to have every single icon in all of the grids turn into a button, or a dot, rather. But that's just me. I don't know what the rest of the
Could there
has
be a
to say.
tool that showed you all the glyph icons used in the site on all your grids, and then give you an opportunity to put the equivalent next to it, and then it could just run across all your grids and just replace them? Sounds like maybe an action form that could do that.
Well, that's what I'm building now, yeah. It
Well, then,
should
yeah.
be possible.
So you only make your decision one time, but it applies to all your grids. You don't have to go one at a time.
That I think would be very helpful, because the number of glyph icons out there is substantial. And just to be able to remap them would be terrific. Also, if you've got end users, you also have some kind of documentation implications as well, usability implications. So if you can use that kind of plan ahead, that would be helpful from a transition standpoint, I think, a lot.
It sounds like everybody's thinking about this problem, because I was going to put the cross-reference in a table so I could import it from a spreadsheet and give a user the choice for who owns the site to say, no, I like this kind of trash can, and then give it back to me to run the conversion script.
Yep. So I think maybe, the reason why we didn't do it is, of course, that will be a big effort to go over hundreds of icons and pick a correspondent. And of course, you still don't please everyone. So that's one of the main reasons that we decided not to do it. But I think building a simple script that maybe extracts all the icons and and another script to update them in bulk, sounds like that will do the job. To have these scripts readily made, and people can just use them. Right?
Yeah, and Ben's making a contribution for that, right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
I'll probably end up making a form export that everyone could just import an action form. And what I'm envisioning, just to make things simple, would be basically a drop-down list and a text box. The drop-down list will pull out a list of everything it found on glyph icon side, and you pick your glyph icon, you type in the font awesome you want, say go, it'll make the replacement. Once it does the replacement, it drops off the drop-down list. Once your drop-down list is empty, that means you have no glyph icons left to convert.
That would be wonderful.
Awesome.
That would be really good.
And I think probably this needs to happen before installing 120, because after you install it, of course, everything gets changed to a dot.
Then you'd have to have your form look for all the dots to see what they should be changed to. What else would you?
I haven't even written it yet, Mark, and you're already asking for feature updates.
Well, you know, I'm just thinking, am I going to remember to do that before I go to 120, or am I going to forget and then find out that later?
That's why you have
Fine,
backup.
fine. I'll see what I can
Back
do.
up just for that, or restore? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Maybe I think we can do that. It will be quite easy to do during the upgrade to 120, not replace that column, but create another column and move the whole content, like glyph icon, move it to another column. So it's there in the database. It's not last forever.
I haven't moved to 20 myself yet. I don't know, but there is 2 columns right now. One is a glyph icon, one's a font awesome
Oh, really?
icon column. Yeah, there's 2. I don't know, when during the update, do you delete the glyph icon column?
Yes, could be the case. I will check it.
So if you could not delete the column,
Mhm.
then at least the data would be there. And I don't know, set it up so I guess, oh, you know, obviously always look at the font awesome column, just ignore the glyph icon one.
Yep, yep.
But at least that way people will still have their old data even after upgrade.
Now you're talking.
Yeah. So there is an icon class and a FA icon class. Okay. Yes, so looks like we are dropping the column. So maybe that's all we need to do here. Not drop this column. Okay.
Like, that looks doable.
I figure maybe in version 2.1, you can drop the column.
Yeah.
At least give people time to do their migration.
Agreed.
Well, look at that. It's done.
Yeah.
Ask and you shall receive.
On the fly coding.
Public on the fly.
Okay. So I see we still have 2 items on the agenda, but we can stick around and discuss them further in the afterglow. If there are new feature requests to look at, but also discuss the beta to see how it's going.
That's good.
Okay. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll stop the recording here, and we welcome you next time on Fridays.
Thanks for the campfire.